Hey, welcome back to another tutorial video. In today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet these hearts that are super cute. They have these tiny little hearts on them and you can turn them into keychains or a bagcharm. So what you will need to make these keychains is two different colors of yarn, and you want them to be two colors that are a bit contrasting so you'll see the hearts better. Then you'll also of course need a crochet hook. I'm using a 3.5mm one. Then some scissors, a tapestry needle to weave in the ends, a little bit of stuffing, and a keyring if you want to turn these into a keychain. You can also just use some extra yarn to make a chain and then make a little loop with that. I'll show you at the end how to do that, but that works as well. So we're going to start with the main color of the heart. So I'm going to be using red. And you want to start this by chaining 4. So I'm first going to be making a slip knot and then chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then for row 1 we are just going to single crochet all the way to the end. And we're going to be starting in the second chain from the hook. So that means we're going to need to do 3 single crochets. That's the end of the first row, and I'm just going to flip over my work now. Then for row 3 we want to start with an increase. And an increase means that we're going to be making 2 single crochets into one space. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into that first space, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and then into that same space I'm going to be doing a second single crochet. Then into the next stitch just 1 single crochet. And then into this third stitch you're going to be making another increase. So 1 single crochet and then a second single crochet. Then turn your work again, and on this row we are going to be adding the second color. So you're going to grab your second color like this, and you're basically going to be holding it on the back of your work. And we're going to start this row with an increase again. So you're going to insert your hook into that first space, and you want to make sure that the other color yarn, so in my case the pink yarn, is on top of your hook. You're going to grab the red yarn, pull through, and then just finish off the single crochet. And since that first stitch was an increase, I'm going to insert my hook into that same space again, grab the yarn and just make another single crochet. For the next stitch we are going to be making a heart. So this is really easy. It's basically just a single crochet but then using the pink yarn instead of the red yarn. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into the stitch. And I'm going to be grabbing the pink yarn, pull up a loop like so. Now I've got 2 different colored loops on my hook, and I'm going to grab the red yarn and pull this through both of the loops, and that creates a little heart into your pattern. Then I'm going to be doing a regular single crochet with the red yarn. So insert your hook and just grab the red yarn. And again, you always want to make sure that the pink yarn is on top of your hook, so it basically gets carried along the back. So finish off this single crochet with the red yarn. Then for the next stitch I'm going to be doing another heart stitch. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into the stitch and grab the pink yarn instead of the red yarn, and then finish it off with the red yarn to create another heart stitch. Into this last stitch we're going to make an increase again. So insert your hook and make one single crochet and then a second single crochet. So at the end of this row you should have 7 stitches, and then you want to flip over your work and start on the next row. So for this row you want to hold the pink yarn in front of your work, and I'm going to be inserting my hook underneath this pink yarn. So kind of have the pink yarn on top of the hook into the stitch, and then grab the red yarn and make a single crochet and then another single crochet since it was an increase. So for this row we're basically going to just kind of hide the pink yarn into the red yarn, so it's just going to be carried along inside the red yarn, if you get what I mean. And you do want to make sure that the pink yarn is kind of tight here at the beginning, because otherwise it will create some loops that will stick out and you don't want that. So kind of pull on it a bit after you've done the first stitches. Then I'll continue the single crochets until I get to the last stitch. So that's 5 single crochets. And for the last stitch we're going to be doing another increase. So 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So that's 1 and that is the second one. Then you're going to flip over your work, and as you can see you see a tiny bit of the pink yarn through the red yarn, and you can fix that by just pulling on the pink yarn lightly, and that should make it disappear. For this 5th row the pink yarn needs to be on the back of your work again, so just hold on to it like this. I'm inserting my hook into the first stitch, and again make sure that the pink yarn is on top of your hook so that it gets carried along on the back. So an increase. Then I'm going to be doing a heart stitch. So grab the pink yarn instead of the red one. Then I'm going to be doing 2 single crochets. So that's 1 and a second one. Then another heart stitch. So grabbing the pink yarn instead of the red, and then another 2 single crochets, then another heart stitch, and then lastly an increase. So 1 single crochet and a second one. And yeah, at the end of this row you want to flip it over again, and you want to hold the pink yarn in front of your work. For this row I'm going to be doing an increase into the first stitch, then 4 single crochets, then another increase, then another 4 single crochets, and then into the last stitch another increase. And at the end of this row you should have 14 stitches. So flip over your work again and pull on the pink yarn a bit to kind of hide anything that is sticking out. Put the pink yarn on the back of your work and then start with another increase. Make sure that the pink yarn is on top of your hook. Then do 1 single crochet, a half stitch, 2 single crochets, a half stitch, 2 single crochets, another half stitch, 2 single crochets again, another half stitch, 1 single crochet, and then another increase. Then flip over your work, and for row 8 we are just going to do 16 single crochets. So into each stitch just 1 single crochet. At the end of the row, flip your work again, and you want to pull on this pink yarn to hide anything that sticks out. Put your pink yarn on the back of your work. And for this row we are going to start with a decrease. So a decrease means that we're going to be basically forming 2 stitches together. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into the first stitch, making sure that the pink yarn is on top of the hook. Grab the red yarn and pull up a loop. Then instead of finishing off this stitch, I'm going to be inserting my hook into the next stitch. Again, pull up a loop with the red yarn. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook, and I'm just going to grab the red yarn and pull through all 3 loops on my hook. And that is how you do a decrease. For the next stitch we're going to do just 1 single crochet, then a half stitch. So I'm going to be grabbing the pink yarn instead of the red one, then 2 single crochets. So that's 1 and 2, and another half stitch, 2 single crochets, another half stitch, 2 single crochets, a half stitch, 1 single crochet, and then another decrease. So again, just insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop like you normally would. Then instead of finishing off this stitch, you want to insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up another loop, and then finish off both of these stitches by just pulling through the yarn. Flip over your work, and for this row we are only going to be crocheting until the middle and then turn back again. So we're basically going to be making the kind of domes of the heart. So I'm just going to do 7 single crochets and then stop. So 1, well, that one kind of warm. Well, 2. Well, this is going great. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm going to flip over my work Again, pull on the pink yarn a bit to hide anything that sticks out, and start with 2 single crochets. So 1, and then into the next stitch another single crochet. Then do a heart stitch, 1 single crochet, another heart stitch, and then 2 single crochets. So 1 and another one into the last stitch. Then flip over your work again. Start this row with a decrease. So pull up a loop and then pull up another loop from the next stitch, and then decrease. Then 5 single crochets to the end. So 1, 2, so it can be kind of hard to insert your hook into the stitches that are above the heart stitches, I noticed. I don't know why, but it sometimes is kind of difficult. So that's 3 single crochets, and a 4th one, and a 5th one if I can find it. There it is. Flip over your work and pull on this pink yarn again. Hold your pink yarn on the back of your work, and then start with another decrease. Then 1 single crochet, a heart stitch, and 2 single crochets. So that's 1, and into the next stitch the second one. Then flip your work, and for the last row we are just going to do a decrease, 1 single crochet, and another decrease. So that's the end of the first kind of dome of the heart, or whatever you call it. So I'm going to grab my scissors and just cut off this yarn, and I'm going to pull on my hook to pull this loop through and make it secure. And later on we'll be weaving in these ends. And that's the first part of the heart done, and we're going to flip it over so you can see the back. And now we're going to start on the second one. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into the 7th stitch from the left. So it basically is next to the beginning of the other dome. That's definitely not the right word for it, but okay. I'm going to form a little loop with my yarn and put it on the hook and pull up the loop. Then I'm going to grab this yarn and pull it through. And you may want to tighten it a bit because this can be kind of loose at the beginning. Then I'm going to single crochet all the way to the end. And while I'm doing that, I'm kind of holding the end of the red yarn so it gets woven in immediately. So basically what we did with the pink yarn before, I'm just going to be doing with the red yarn for this row, just so I don't need to weave in as many ends. So that is 7 single crochets, and I'm going to flip over my work, and I'm going to be joining the pink yarn on this row. So I'm going to be grabbing the pink yarn again and hold it on the back of my work. Make sure that the pink yarn is on top of the hook. Grab the red yarn, pull up a loop and then finish it off like so. Then I'm going to be doing another single crochet just with the red yarn, and then I'm going to be doing a half stitch. So inserting my hook and grabbing the pink yarn instead of the red and finish it off with the red yarn. Then another single crochet, a half stitch and 2 single crochets again. Flip over your work, hold the pink yarn in front of your work, and we're going to start with 5 single crochets and then end this row with a decrease. Flip over your work, pull on the pink yarn again to hide any stick outs. Hold the pink yarn on the back of your work and start with 2 single crochets, then a half stitch, 1 single crochet and a decrease. Then flip over your work, and for this last row we are going to do a decrease, a single crochet and another decrease. So it's basically kind of the same as on the other side, but then mirrored. I'm going to be cutting off this yarn again, and make sure you leave a long enough end so you can weave in your ends later on, and then just pull on your hook to secure this. And that's the first heart done. So now you first want to weave in all of these ends and then make a second one just like this one. So I already made a second one. So after you've woven in all of these ends, you want to put them right side facing each other, like so. And you're going to attach them to each other by single crocheting all the way around, and you want to leave a little bit of an opening on like the bottom or something, so that we can turn them inside out again and that we can stuff them. So yeah, just cut the yarn and then turn the heart inside out, and you can actually use the back of your crochet hook to push out the tops of the heart. Then add some stuffing to your heart, and you do want to make sure that you add enough so that your heart will be nice and plump and kind of squishy. And again, you can use the back of your crochet hook to distribute the stuffing. Then sew the bottom piece of your heart shut as well, and yeah, then your heart is done. So you can add a keyring to your heart to turn it into a keychain to hang on your bag or on your keys or something. So if you want to add the keyring, you just want to loop it through one of the stitches on the bottom of your heart, or you can create a hanger with some extra yarn. So for this you just want to make a slip knot and then chain however many you like. I chained 30 since I wanted the loop to be a bit bigger, so I could hang it on a bag like this. So to attach the chain, I just grabbed my tapestry needle and I wove the ends through the top of the heart just to one of the loops. So I did that with both ends, and then I attached them to each other with a triple knot to make it extra secure. I cut the yarn and I pushed the knot that kind of sticks out into the heart with the back of my tapestry needle to make it disappear. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!